with an understanding of the expectation of public responsibility singularly directed at the Prime Minister, I believed it was necessary to have authority to have what were effectively emergency powers to exercise in extreme situations that would be unforeseen, that would enable me to act in the national interest. And I didn't consider it at the time, given everything else that was going on and the other priorities we were dealing with, that it was a matter that needed to be raised at that point, because if I needed to use the powers, then I would have disclosed them with the minister in the fact that ministers were unaware of these things is actually proof of my lack of interference or intervention in any of their activities.
If there was an expectation on the part of the Australian public that you were in charge of everything, why didn't you tell the Australian public?
I think there was a great risk that in the midst of that crisis, those powers could be misinterpreted and misunderstood, which would have caused unnecessary angst in the middle of a pandemic and could have impacted on the day-to-day functioning of the government. No, that's not what I said. I said there was a possibility of this being misinterpreted. And frankly, the events of the last few days, I think, have highlighted how these things can be misinterpreted.
Why did you deceive the Australian public and your Treasurer and Finance Minister about this?
Well, I don't share that view.
I
didn't inform them. And I can appreciate, Andrew, you mightn't understand it because you haven't been a Prime Minister in the middle of the worst crisis since the Second World War. Josh and I spoke friendly.
He's not happy, is he?
Well, I've had a wonderful conversation with Josh. We had one yesterday afternoon, and we are the best of friends, and he has my total regard as both a friend and a colleague, and that will forever remain.
Can I ask you about the biosecurity? A number of your colleagues have basically asked for you to resign. Will you resign over this?
Well, of course not. But as a former Prime Minister, I intend to go on being a quiet Australian in the Shire and in St George, doing my job as a local member, and I would ask you to respect the privacy of my family, and when we're out and about doing things as a family, or down at the Sharkies, seeing them make the semi-finals. All the best.